Hi everyone, this is Frank DiMora. I'm back from my Atlanta Prophecy Conference. It was truly a blessing. A lot of people were touched, and a lot of other people will be touched as they got my books and my discs to hand out. And I'd like just to invite anyone who wants this information. They'd be able to go to my website. Now, I put up my BibleProphecyMan.com site here because it's a lot easier to remember. But when you go to the site, you will be transferred over to my new site, the End Times Research Ministry. But for the purpose of filming, this is a lot easier, clearer, so that I can make the films for you so that you can see it without any motions going through as I make the video for you. But again, if you're new to my website or if you're new to YouTube, you'll see the link here to my book. Click this link and you'll be able to get the book today for free. I'd like to invite anyone who wants to join our prayer team from around the United States, or if you want to and you live outside the United States, you can join in every day. We pray. Now, if you're on the East Coast, the prayer time, as you can see here, will start at 12 noon from East Coast time, but obviously if you're on the West Coast in California, it would be your time at 9 a.m. in the morning. Now, in order to get into the prayer conference, just dial this number as you see right here, and dial this code that you see here once you dial the phone number, and it will bring you right into the prayer conference. It's not long. We do this fairly quick, but it's a time for the body of those who want to pray, and it's very, very important that we do pray. It's time that we can get together, even if we're around the country, to pray for one another's needs and to pray for the nation as well. Now I want to get right into some prophecy here. In my post of April the 16th, I put up a red flag, you see. Now, most of you who have been coming to my site for any amount of time know that when I put up the red flag, this is a signal to keep on the watch shortly. Keep on the watch for something to happen. Now, on April the 16th, I did again raise the red flag, warning that you're going to see some huge quakes that were coming shortly. So this is what I wrote to you. I said that it was in red, but the prophecy sign is in red. But this part right here is what I wrote to you on April the 16th. It says this, prophecy sign Matthew 24:7, starting at verse 7. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in divers places. And this means many places. And Luke 21:11 is where Jesus warns us that great earthquakes would also be a sign. Now, if you take a look at my post from yesterday, you will see that I had left the red flag up. This was a warning. You will see huge quakes shortly. Now take a look at today's news below my warning from yesterday. Now keep in mind, this is what I wrote on the 16th of April. All right. Now I'm going to bring you up to date to show you what's happened since I posted that red flag. Today, which is April the 24th, there was another huge earthquake, as you can see here, a 6.2 earthquake. Now, for those of you who just found my website, when you go from YouTube over to my website, you'll see a link here. You click the link and all this information will come up, and you'll see that this is the 6.2 earthquake. And the headline, I usually try to put the headlines in yellow for you. So the earthquake kills 7 in Afghanistan, and it was also felt in Pakistan. Now, look at it. The headline, 6.4 earthquake struck Papua New Guinea, and there was no tsunami that was issued here either. Now, that earthquake, according to the professional site, was registered as a 6.5 earthquake. So what I'm going to do is just bring you over there. Wait for a second for it to load. And you see that this was yesterday. Okay? So again, a 6.4 magnitude earthquake, Papua New Guinea, yesterday. They were worried about a Pacific tsunami warning that was going to possibly hit Hawaii, but it didn't happen, thank God. But here's the point. There was another huge earthquake that hit. So let me go back. Alright, so again, strong earthquakes. They have hit since I posted a red flag warning April 16, 2013. Now, what I've done for you, you can click this link here. It'll take to the USGS, and it'll show you what I'm showing you here on the screen: 5.3, 5.3, 5.6, and so forth. All right. Now, this is the 24th. This is today. This one that I showed you was yesterday. So let's go down and take a look. The 22nd, take a look at all the earthquakes there. 5.9, that's a significant earthquake that rocked Mexico. A 5.7, considering this is Alaska, this is a pretty good size earthquake that hit Alaska. But there was a 6.1 that usually I mark in red. I missed this one. But this is a strong earthquake that hit in Japan again. Keep looking at the dates here. This is the 21st. All these earthquakes hit the 21st. Again, a 6.1 earthquake in the Coral Islands. Now, this was on the 20th, the day after, all right, or the day before the 21st. And as you can see, there was a lot of earthquakes. Not only was it 6.1, and there was also a 6.6, which hit western Shanghai in China. I'll do an update for you there as well. But that was on the 20th. Now on the 19th, there was a 6.0 again in the Coral Islands, and look at this, a 7.2. We're talking huge earthquakes. But there's been significant numbers of these quakes. And again, as of the 18th, there was a couple, they're big, but not as big as what we're seeing up here the day before. Now, look at April the 16th. This is when I raised the flag. These earthquakes didn't hit when I put up the flag. So look what we have here, a 7.8 Iran-Pakistan border. 6.8, you can see where they're hitting. 6.6, 6.5, 6.6, 6.8, 6.8. Big quakes, huge quakes. Now, let me give you an update. The toll that the 6-point earthquake hit in China, it devastated. Look at it. It rises the death toll to 193. And look at the number of houses that were damaged. 1.4 million houses that were damaged. And of course, when you go to my site, you'll be able to click this link, and that will take you to it. So, I can't explain when I get these premonitions to put up the red flags, and you start to see a numerous amount of activity taking place. All I can say is I believe that the Lord is warning us to really pay attention to what He is saying. Now, even if I didn't issue a red flag warning, let me go up here for a second. Even if I didn't give you this red flag warning, what did the Lord tell us in Luke 21:11? Did not He say that there would be great earthquakes? Now, I don't have this particular verse up. It came from Mark 13:8. But in Mark 13:8, the Lord said He wanted us to watch for these earthquakes as birth pains. Okay? So, what this tells us is the birth pains, they are just like a woman in birth. The contractions get stronger and stronger the closer we get to the return of the Lord Jesus Christ. They'll happen not only stronger, but they'll happen faster and faster. Now, I can't tell you why I'm getting all these encouraging signs or compulsions to put up the red flags. But every time I'm doing this, we'll see that there's huge earthquakes shortly after I put it. In this case, it was immediately after it. Didn't even have to wait for a day. So there's a lot of earthquake activity, and I know that we're going to see a lot more, even just based on the word of the Lord. Now, moving on to another topic, the food crisis. We know from Revelation 6:6, where the Lord tells us this, "And I heard a voice in the middle of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny." Now, when you do a study, you'll find out that people during the tribulation are going to have to work all day long for one small meal. And he tells us right here, wheat or barley, okay? Now, we know that since we're into birth pains, things are going to get a lot worse and a lot worse quicker. And that means food supplies, crisis with food. And we're starting to see this. And not only is the food crisis, it's rising the price of food up. And it's making it very, very difficult for people, especially in the third world countries, to be able to buy food for the families. And we know that if you've watched any of the news in the Middle East last year, most of those riots, including the European Union, were happening because people could not afford to buy food. And so they started to riot. Now, along with Revelation 6:6, I'm going to tie in, and you're going to see why I'm tying it in, Zechariah chapter 12, verses 2 and 3, which says this, "Behold, I'll make Jerusalem a cup of trembling unto all people round about. And when they shall be in the siege both against Judah and against Jerusalem, and in that day will I make Jerusalem a burdensome stone for all people. All that burden themselves with it shall be cut in pieces, though all the people of the earth are gathered together against it." So, what do we have? We know wheat, barley, crops, they're going to be devastated. We know how they're going to be devastated. We see it in the scriptures. We see it in Matthew. We see it in the book of Revelation. Drought, famine, lack of water, insects, flooding. There's a lot of different reasons why the crops will be eliminated. Wars, for example, where you can't plant, you can't harvest because people are too busy fighting. And then we know that anybody who goes against Jerusalem, burdens themselves over Jerusalem, the Lord tells us that he is going to cut them in pieces. And he means business about it. And this is why I tell the people, pray for Jerusalem, pray for the Jews. Because you don't want to be on the opposite side of what God is doing. And what God is doing is showing us through this tiny nation of Israel that he is going to use this nation to sanctify his holy name. Show the world that he is God through this tiny nation. As the world goes to try to wipe out Israel, God intervenes and he protects his people. Now, let me just say this. Most of Israel is secular. They don't even believe in God, the Jesus Christ that we know of. They're a Messiah. There was 300 prophecies, over 300 prophecies that were showing us, and Jesus fulfilled those prophecies relating to his first coming. But the Jews are blind to it. They just didn't want to receive it, and they still don't want to receive it. So God is going to be working with the nation of Israel. But the fact of the matter is, in this verse, it says that anybody who burdens themselves over, as you can see here, Jerusalem or Israel, they're going to be destroyed, cut into pieces. And everybody's going to be coming against them. So, from time to time, I'm showing you how this prophecy is coming to fruition. Now, there's a curse. Obviously, there's a curse against anyone who comes against the nation of Israel. We see this, I don't have it here, but we see this in Joel chapter 3, where anybody who tries to divide the land, God's land, Israel, he's going to destroy them, lead them down to Jehoshaphat, which is destruction. So let me give you an example of the curse we see in Genesis 12, chapter 12, verse 2, where the Lord said, anybody who curses Israel will be cursed, anybody who blesses Israel will be blessed. Now, on April the 24th, I just pulled this up, the Palestinian Mission, UK. Take a look at this. The Scottish Trade Union stand in solidarity with all Palestinian political prisoners and supports campaign to boycott the G4S. And down here in this article, what I did is just paste a little bit of this information. You're going to see in this article the things that the Scottish trade unions going against the nation of Israel, taking sides with the Palestinian people. We see that they put in Jerusalem in here. Take a look at this. It says that this Congress notes that the World Social Forum, Free Palestine, agreed to make the next annual Palestinian Prisoners' Day, April 17, 2013, a worldwide day of action against security company G4S. The occupied Palestine G4S is involved in human rights abuses and violations of international law through the services it provides to the Israeli occupation forces, including providing or operating, look at this, equipment for Israeli checkpoints in the West Bank and Gaza, security systems of the Kavos prison, the central control room of the Megiddo prison, central control room of the Ofer prison compound. These are the prisons obviously in the area of Israel. But let's just jump down to here, because this is where it gets interesting. Security services to businesses, including banks and supermarkets in illegal West Bank settlements and East Jerusalem. So the Scottish Union, as you can see here, is going against Israel, supporting the Palestinians, and of course, they threw in burdens with Jerusalem, East Jerusalem. This is where the first and the second temple were. And of course, this is when you start going against God's people, you end up with a curse. Now, there is a video that I put up for you. You'll be able to see this. I blew this up so that you could see it. But then here's the video, and when you see this video, you'll understand why I'm going to show you the next segment here. So I'm going to play a little bit of this video and then come back.
Mike Arnott, Secretary of Dundee Trade Union Council, sending greetings to our comrades in Palestine on Palestinian Prisoners' Day here in Perth on the 17th of April against G4S.
I think it's really important that today we send solidarity to Palestinians and Palestinian prisoners in particular. Far too many people and young Palestinians have been imprisoned for no reason by the Israeli state, and this occurrence really has to be publicised and made to stop, because it's just the breaches of human rights are just so appalling.
My name's Jim Malone. Ex-regional organiser of Fire Brigade Unions Scotland, passing on my warmest regards and my deepest hope that the prisoners currently in jail in Israel are released shortly, but I also wish solidarity with those individuals. They know that the working people of Scotland are with them, they're in our thoughts, and we will do all we can to secure their earliest possible release. But that message of solidarity comes from Scottish people as well as the Scottish workers. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Lynn Patterson and I'm a delegate at the STUC Congress here in Perth. And I'm very proud that the STUC has a history of having been supportive and in solidarity with the Palestinian people for a very long time. It's important that we keep reminding people in Britain, in Scotland in particular, since we are in Scotland, about what is going on in Palestine. You are our brothers and sisters, as every other worker in the world is, and your pain is our pain, your struggle is our struggle, and your example is an example to us all. And all I can say is, you give me strength strength to keep going on.
Now, I'm going to stop it there for 1 second because I need to interject something. She said, your struggle is our struggle. And so, you know, they're likening themselves to the Palestinians. Now, one thing, that if you've been watching the news, especially for the last couple of days, there have been more rockets coming out from the Gaza Strip going into Israel. Israel didn't do it. Israel has never sent in missiles or rockets unless they were provoked. And that's what's happening here. So when you liken and you take positions for the Palestinians who are trying to kill the Israelis, you're coming against God.
Never give in the fight for equality and freedom.
I'm Eric from the UCU, the University Teachers Union. I want to send solidarity message to all those in Israeli jails who are Palestinians who sustain colonization.
Mike Kirby, the Scottish Secretary of the Public Services Trade Union Unison, and on behalf of 160,000 members employed in the public services, we want to assure you that we are mindful of your plight today and send you greetings and best wishes from 160,000 public service workers in Scotland.
All right, I'll let you go to my website and finish watching the video. But so now we're back at my site, and I wanted to show you something because it is really important that you see God's Word come to life here. Now, I did mention Joel chapter 3, and I want to read this to you. This is Joel chapter 3, verse 2. I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat and will plead with them there for my people and my inheritance Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and departed my land. So there's a curse that comes against anyone who comes against the Lord's chosen people. Whether they believe in God or not, God is going to use Israel to sanctify His name, as I said. Now, at the time that this convention's going on, or at the time that this message is going through, take a look at what's happened to Scotland. Believe it or not, this is no beautiful sandy beach. It's a farmer's field crop of barley ruined by tons of sand blown across land. This is a picture of it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to the site and show you a video.
Whoa, look at that. We're in the sandstorm.
I was driving from Elgin towards Lossiemouth, going home, and I noticed a massive big cloud in the sky. And as I was sort of going towards it, I realised it was a giant sandstorm. Nothing I've really seen in this area before. So as I got closer, the sand was just getting, thicker and thicker, and it was down to...
Notice that he said that since he's lived there, he's never seen this before.
Pretty much zero visibility.
Now this is happening at the same time that they sent out a message of alliance with the Palestinians.
From the farms, and all the fields and so on.
Oh, come on, mate.
I've seen lots and lots of debris, just hitting the window, and lots of sand and blown twigs and leaves and everything else. It was pretty down to zero visibility. There was cars just coming out of nowhere, so we obviously had to go pretty slow.
Oh my God!
I think quite a lot of people have been affected. Certainly there's sand blown across the road. You kind of have to avoid it. There's also, I left my window open stupidly in my house, and the whole bathroom was completely covered in sand. It was pretty bad. Notice to all, just close your windows.
All right, so get the idea there. Let me go back to my site. All right, so you see what happens to people who come against Israel. The Lord said, obviously, He set a curse on anyone. So I don't believe at all that it's a curse that the Scottish people come against Jerusalem and the Palestinians, taking favor with the Palestinians, and in the same week, not one, but 2 major sandstorms that destroy their crops. Take it for what it's worth. God is a just God, but when he says he's going to do something, you can see that he does it. Now, in my book, I outline many things that have already taken place. Events that have taken place where people have come against Israel, and either on the same day or within a matter of a couple days or within the week, natural disaster comes on those same people that have come against God. And so this is one of the reasons why I'm posting this, because this has devastated the crops. And it is deep sand. 2 storms. Now, considering the fact that the Lord told us in the last days everybody was going to come against Israel, almost every other day now we're starting to see information about people turning against Israel, boycotting Israel, Israel being left alone in the world. And I want to bring you to another example of that. You'll see here at the headline, Columbia professor against Israel. So let me go right over there. Professors against Israel. 100 teachers at Columbia University demand pension funds not to be invested with companies that trade with the IDF, Israeli Defense Force. All right, so let me bring it right down. There's a video that I want to play for you so that you can see for yourself a prime example of what the Lord told us in Zechariah chapter 12, that all the people will be coming against Israel. Obviously, this is only one event, but when you add up all of the different nations and people, it's very evident that what's happening in these last days. People are coming against Israel.
We're asking that our retirement funds, our money, not be invested in companies that play a central role in the patent violation of the clear terms of the Geneva Convention, the clear terms of international humanitarian law, and the clear terms of international human rights law. We cannot tolerate the idea that one day we may live on retirement funds that find their source in the profitability of the illegal occupation.
All right, so again, people coming against the nation of Israel, Bible prophecy being fulfilled. Israel wants to live in peace. Israel is not throwing rockets, they're not throwing grenades, they're not throwing mortars, but they do retaliate against those who are trying to kill them. And just like in Scotland and the unions who don't recognize the fact, or don't want to recognize the fact, that Israel's trying to secure their borders and secure the safety for their own people, and they're acting on these missiles and these rockets that are going into their territory, just like these 100 professors obviously don't care that Israel is being attacked by the enemies constantly, and especially for the past 3 days, where more rockets have been fired onto their territory. Now, I would like to ask the professor, if you were living in Israel and you were minding your own business, and all of a sudden you got rockets or mortars or these missiles that were launched on you, what would you do? Do you think maybe you would say, I would like to have my retirement funds in Israel who would protect me? Because that's what they're doing. They're protecting their own people. But here's a case where this woman and the other 100 or 99, they've taken sides, and they're showing us how Bible prophecy is being fulfilled. Now, I'm going to go back and show you some of the pictures from the Mail Online, the devastation of what happened with these sandstorms. You can see here. It does look like a beach. Here's some other pictures. And you can see here, it's talking about covered up the barley fields. And of course, when you wipe out the barley fields, when you wipe out the rest of the crops, what happens? Obviously, the prices go up. And the prices will go up here. Shades of Revelation 6:6, the prelude to what's coming. Now I'm going to move on to another set of prophecies here. Take a look at what we see from the book of Acts. It says this in Acts 15:20. But that we write unto you that they abstain from pollutions of idols, and from fornication, and from things strangled, and from blood. In other words, the Lord is showing us you're not supposed to be eating blood. You cannot drink blood, obviously. That's from the Old Testament. Look at this, Genesis chapter 9. We'll start in verse 1. Then God blessed Noah and his sons, saying to them, be fruitful, increase in number, and fill the earth. The fear of the dread of you will fall on all the beasts of the earth, and on all the birds in the sky, on every creature that moves along the ground, and on all the fish in the sea. They are given into your hands. Everything that lies and moves about will be food for you. Just as I gave you the green plants, I give you everything. Now look at this. This is where it's important. But you must not eat meat that has its lifeblood still in it. In other words, it's alive. And for your lifeblood I will surely demand an accounting. So the Lord forbids anybody who is doing almost like cannibalism, taking something and eat it when it still had the blood in it. Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 2 and 3. And you're going to see why I'm giving you this information. It says, only be sure that thou eat not the blood, for the blood is the life. And thou mayest not eat the life with the flesh. Very simple. So if you have an animal, you're not supposed to kill that animal and still eat it with the blood in it. But knowing that these are the last times and there's a lot of demonic activity going on, let me show you an article here. It says, Bon Appetit, Muslims go wild in demonic ritual. A dark and incomprehensible spirit has possessed the souls of Egypt. Let me go right to this article. Now this article has a video, but before I play the video, I want to read something to you that I think you'll find interesting. A former Muslim Brotherhood terrorist claims a bizarre video released out of Egypt demonstrates the demonic spirit that has gripped the nation since its 2011 Islamic Revolution. Now keep in mind what happened to Egypt, how the Egyptians are fighting against the Egyptians. They still are doing it. We see that prophecy of Isaiah chapter 19. That has been fulfilled. It's in a process, actually, of being fulfilled right now. Now it goes on to say the video shows a wedding celebration in which a group of men in a frenzy tear apart a live chicken. Keep in mind what the Lord just told us about eating animals with the lifeblood still in it. A live chicken by hand, then scrabble over its pieces to eat its raw flesh. The video is a glimpse into the dark and incomprehensible spirit that has possessed the souls of Egypt, claims Walid Shabat, a former Palestinian Liberation Organization operative who has since renounced his terrorist ways. Lawlessness has abounded. Excesses has gone unrestricted, and the full force of Islam has greatly dimmed the land with its dark clouds, thundering about and striking without discrimination. So we know that in the last days, people were going to turn their hearts from God. People were going to end up going to other gospels that were not true gospels. We see that in Paul. when he said, if an angel come out of the sky preaching of another gospel than that which we have given to you, let him be accursed. We see this many, many times, many gospels other than the scriptures. And of course, we see this here as well, where the Muslims are following, supposed to be the Quran, which is, according to what the Lord, another gospel. But let me show you this wedding that went down, and you're going to see the things that the Lord said don't do, and they are doing those same things. There's the chicken. They slam it down on the ground. It's still alive, and they're ripping it apart. Even a woman finds it disgusting. Look at that. I mean, it's cannibalism. Now let me just say this. We need to be praying for people like this, because obviously they're under a demonic influence. This isn't healthy. It's not good. It's not good for society. And obviously the bride of this wedding found it disgusting as well. But even more so, being disgusting to the bride, it's disgusting to God. But these are the things that the Lord told us to watch for in the last days. We know that Satan is trying to destroy lives. And it's obviously that these men are in his path. And we need to be praying for people like this. Now we're going to move into another section. Now, please understand this. What I'm showing you here is the characteristics of what the Lord said we should be watching for in the last days. I'm not going to point out one specific sin, saying that this is worse than another, because God doesn't see that all sin is the same. But the Lord showed us certain things, specific things to watch for, knowing that when you see these things, we have reached the end of times just before Christ would return again. What am I talking about? Well, when you read Matthew chapter 24, verses 37 through 39, and also when you read Luke 17, verses 25 through 30, you'll see that the Lord shows us that this generation, the last generation, would be just like that of Noah's generation, as you see here, and also in Sodom and Gomorrah, a Lot's generation. And they turned away from God. They were lawless. This is a society that went to homosexuality. And now we're seeing the exact same characteristics that once used to be with Sodom and Gomorrah, and during the Noah's generation, they have reappeared again when all of the signs are showed up in one single generation. This tells us that our days are numbered. Now, in God's word in Leviticus chapter 20, verse 13, it says this: if a man also lie with mankind, as he lieth with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination, and they have surely be put to death. Their blood shall be upon them. This is what the Lord sees as relation to men sleeping with men. It's an abomination. Now, God's word in Romans chapter 1, verse 27, citing the King James, and likewise also the men leaving the natural use of a woman, burn in their lust one toward another, men with men, working that which is unseemly, and receiving in themselves that recompense of their error which was men. So again, we see what the Lord is talking about, men sleeping with men, and this also goes for the women as well. And so what I wanted to show you is in Romans 1:26 says this: "For this cause God gave them up unto vile affections. For even their woman did change the natural use into that which is against nature." In other, women sleeping with women, men sleeping with men, homosexuality. These are the conditions that were prevalent in Sodom and Gomorrah. These are the conditions of Noah's generation. These are the conditions that are here again. Now, I want to tell anybody who is watching this video today, if you're gay, I have nothing at all against you. I love you as I love my brother, and I want nothing to happen to you as I would not want anything to happen to my brother or my sister. But it's our duty to at least warn you what the Lord said, and in hopes that you would think about what the Lord said, because it's your choice to either follow what the Lord said or to pay for the consequences later on when you meet the Lord on the judgment day. But the conditions are here. And anyone, if they call themselves a Christian and they say that they hate this person or they hate that person, I would say you're probably not a Christian, or you're the type of people who just doesn't want to believe how to act towards other people. And of course we know God is love, and we're supposed to love the people with that same love. So if you're hating the homosexual person, you're not doing the will of the Lord. You're not doing the will of the Father. Now, that being said, I'm just showing you the circumstances of how God said it would be. And I'm going to show you that those circumstances are already here. And let me bring you to the first BBC News article. As you can see here, same-sex marriage, France sets to change law. Now, this article came out yesterday, and as you can see, same-sex marriage, France Parliament approves new law. France has become the 14th country to approve a law allowing gay marriage. The bill, which also legalizes adoption of same-sex couples, was passed by 321 votes to 225 in the French Parliament. Now, I'm going to have a link at the end of this video at my site that will give you a lot more news that I'm giving to you in this video, and I'm going to show you that there was demonstrations against this in France. But the fact of the matter is, there is another nation that has gone over to same-sex marriage. We are seeing the conditions, the very conditions that Christ said were going to happen. When we see these conditions, we're supposed to look up, because we know that our redemption draws nigh. All right, now, I wanted to show you this as well. This came out on April the 17th this year. New Zealand, another nation, lawmakers burst into song as they legalize gay marriage. I'm praying with all my heart that the Holy Spirit is revealing to you the condition of the world. And the condition of the world is heading towards Satan. Satan is going to rule this world. He's already into the world, the spirit of the Antichrist, and it's growing. But Satan himself will eventually come here, incarnate himself into a man, the Antichrist, and walk the face of this earth and try to kill as many people as he can. And so, by the conditions that we're seeing in France, New Zealand, and the United States and many other countries that are not only have already passed the laws, But there are other countries that are working towards the same goal. And all of these signs tell us that our Messiah is not that far off. All right, now we're going to get into the last for today. And this has to do about the destruction, the killing, the birds, the fish, and the animals. You're going to see 3 prophecies here. I'm going to let you read those prophecies when you go to my site. You'll see right here. And you'll see it in Ezekiel. Hosanna, Ezekiel, and Zephaniah. All talk about the animals, the birds, and the fish dying in the last days. Now, in my book, I have a host of information outlining since the year 2002 or 2009 the birds, the fish, and the animals that are dying. And every time there's a new report, I'll add this, and it's up to date in my book. So I wanted to show you the recent news concerning these prophecies. So let me go to the first one. And here you see scores of cattle culled in Tibet due to foot and mouth disease outbreak. It says the Chinese Ministry of Agriculture, the MOA, reported an outbreak of foot and mouth disease in a Tibetan village in Chenges, which has affected dozens of cattle. You see here that they give you a number here. There's 32 cases of foot and mouth and a total of 156. This is just one example of what's taken place. Now let me go back and show you another article about these prophecies being fulfilled, or how it's being fulfilled. Now here you have Sky News HD, the bird deaths, thousands starve off the south coast. It says more than 1,000 seabirds have been washed up dead on the south coast of England, thought killed by the chemical released from ships. Wildlife experts have been scouring the beaches from Cornwall, Devon, and Dorset in case any of the affected the gullnuts, puffins, and other bird species have survived. So this is one of many, many, many articles around the world showing us little by little the birds, the fish, the animals are dying. And they're dying in large numbers, huge numbers. Millions and millions of fish, animals, pigs. Last week or last month you saw something like 120,000 pigs from China. And I haven't heard anything, but I would imagine more of those are washing up. More are dying. But these are the things that the Lord told us to look for. Now, you can believe what the Lord says about His birds, His fish, and the animals dying, and everything else that He's pointed out. And I'm praying that you would believe it. So let me go back to my site. Now, today is April the 24th. And I've shown you just a glimpse of the many, many things that the Lord showed us what we should look for. And what I'm just going to ask you to do this, because I've never charged anybody for anything I do, and this will become free, but it's a challenge to you. If you want to see all the information you're ever going to need, showing you that the word of the Lord is coming to pass and we don't have much time, please go to my website. Get my book today for free by clicking this link. It's a free gift to you. And the only thing that I request is take your time. It's very easy reading, but it is loaded with proof, evidence, and fact that shows that Christ loves you. And the reason why He has given us all these signs is because He doesn't want us in a position where we will be going to hell because we reject His Son, Jesus Christ, and that resurrection life that He's given to us by dying on the cross. I love you all. I'm praying that my work would drive you to the Scriptures and drive you home into Christ's arms. God bless.